How are we? I am just making sure we're getting on here. And I got everything going. I got my notes, but on my computer. That way I don't go off on too many tangents today. How are we all doing? As you jump on, make sure you say hello. Where are you tuning in from? Make sure that you can hear me. Drop a few of you in here. So part 2 today of our 5-part series that you guys had asked for about losing weight and having your carbs too, right? So yesterday we had talked about, are carbs really the devil or are they a healthy energy source, right? So as we dived in, realizing that no, carbs are not inherently evil. I promise that your body does need them to run optimally. That is why the good Lord made them. We have carbs for a reason. So we are going to dive in today about how your body uses carbohydrates for energy and why it's important. So the main topic for today is, will your body suffer without carbs? So we're going to kind of dive into that topic and be able to pinpoint a little bit more about what is a carb. So there was a time when I thought certain foods that I was eating that they were proteins. Come to find out that their main makeup was carbs. So I was having way more carbohydrates than I realized, hence why I wasn't really losing weight because I wasn't expending all the energy needed. So I found it very valuable having to be able to learn what truly is a carbohydrate, especially when you're maybe not eating whole foods all the time, right? So fruits and vegetables, we know those are carbohydrates. There's other foods we may not know and think there's something else. So I got some surprises in for you, and it's a quiz. So you all are going to have to pay attention. So as we go through, I want you to be commenting and letting me know what your answers are just so we can see who gets it right. So let's jump in here. If you're catching this on replay, please make sure you put hashtag replay in here for me and let me know where you're joining in from. And then at the end, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway was from day 2 of the training. So let's go into first learning, what is a carbohydrate? What are the differences between, and to be able to see how we use our body as carbs, we need to, again, figure out what is a carbohydrate, what qualifies as one. So you know how many you're actually taking in. And then as we do that, you're going to learn more. So join me in today's science lab, ladies. We're going back to school today. So let's look at first, what is a carbohydrate? So we all know that fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates. All fruits, all vegetables, whole foods are carbohydrates. So there's simple carbs, there's complex carbs. So simple carbs are going to break down nice and easily for your body to use it as energy. So if we know that these are carbohydrates, what about other foods that maybe are not, right, whole foods? Hey, Sabrina, thank you for jumping on. So I'm going to hold a few different food products up, and I want you to chime in and let me know what you think it is. And then I will come back to them all. So I'm going to show you them all. And then in the comments, I want you to put what it, like this. You're going to put syrup and then put a C if you think it's a carb, P if you think it's a protein, or an F if you think it's a fat. Okay, so first one, syrup. Put in the comments syrup and what you think it is. Potato chips. Granola. 2 different types here. We have a regular yogurt, like a kid's Go-Gurt. So again, do you think it's a carbohydrate, a protein, or a fat? And then we have Greek yogurt. What do you think it is? Last, milk. So let me know what you think those all are. We're going to go back to number 1. So syrup. Sabrina, woo woo, 100% girl. It is a carb. How do you know it's a carb? There's this really cool thing on the back called the nutrition label. Facts. If you are buying things that don't come like this, you should be looking at this. Okay? So it's going to tell you total fat, total carbs, and total protein. So you have to know how many grams equal a carb or a protein or a fat. So quick little lesson, y'all, for science. Protein, 20 grams of protein equals 1 complete protein. 15 grams of fat or 15 grams of carbohydrates equals 1 complete fat or carbohydrate. So syrup has 53 grams of carbs. So you got what, 4 carbs? Almost 4 carbs, servings of carbs in 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup. So does that shock anybody? You're getting 4 of your carbohydrate servings in just a quarter cup of syrup. So be mindful. So what do we have next? We had chips. So again, chips. What do we think? Chips, carb, and fat. Oh, Kristen, you are going, girl. She is correct. Now, not all of them will fall into that category. So again, looking at your nutrition label, the reason why you need to count it as both is because the fat content typically is about half or more of a complete fat, which means you need to be aware of that. It's almost a full serving of fats. Same with the carbohydrates. Because again, potatoes are what? They're a whole food. They're a carbohydrate. They're veggie or root veg. So good job, Kristen. You get an A+ on that one, girl. So what else did we have? Granola was a carb and a fat. So, okay. So you'll be surprised. The granola, this one particularly, is a carbohydrate. Its primary source is carbohydrate. There is some fat in it, but it's minimal compared to what the serving of carbohydrates is. So this qualifies as the main source of macronutrients, is a carbohydrate. But again, you need to look at this beautiful thing called a nutrition label. Okay, so this one has 5 grams of fat per serving, but it has 18 grams of carbohydrates, which is a little bit more than 1 carb serving, and only 4 grams of protein. So again, you have to be mindful of what you're eating. So if you're thinking this is a fat or a protein, and you're eating the granola as your main meal and having lots of it, because this is only per quarter cup. So if I have a half a cup or a full cup of granola, I've had 3 or 4 servings of carbs already. Okay, so it's being mindful of what you're eating. What else do we have? Oh, yes, my favorite, yogurt. So this one fooled me for the longest time until I learned differently. So this regular yogurt is a carbohydrate. It is not a protein. So if you're eating this as a protein source, you're eating more carbs. Okay, there is a little bit of protein in it, but not enough. Because again, you need 20 grams of protein to equal a complete protein. So this one particularly has 1 gram of fat. It has 8 carbohydrates and only has 2 grams of protein. So it is a carb. Okay, so who guessed on that one? So carbs. So sugar is a carb, Sabrina. So it's all, yeah, it's mainly a carb. Last, milk. Who said this was a carb? Anybody? Because guess what it is? It's a carb. It's not protein. Aren't you sad? I was taught all along, it was pushed to have milk. It's a great source of protein, right? Your vitamin D. Usually a lot of the vitamin D is added. So again, nutrition label. This has 5 grams of fat because I buy reduced fat for the kids. It has 15 grams of carbohydrates, which means this is a carb. It's a complete carb. And there's only 10 grams of protein. So it's half a protein and a complete carb. So this qualifies as it's a carb. The main source of this macronutrient in this is carbohydrates. But yes, you are getting some protein, but not a complete one. So milk, sorry y'all, it is a carb. Now, last but not least is Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt does not fall under the same as your regular yogurt. Why? Because it is more protein dense. So this is actually not a carbohydrate. Greek yogurt, again, if it's plain without added, if you get stuff with sugar or, sugar, but honey or vanilla flavored and or fruit added in, typically you're going to have a lot of sugar. So it's going to now turn into a carbohydrate and not a protein source. So this one particularly has only 7 carbs. So it's about half of a complete carbohydrate, but it's 14 grams of protein, which is just shy of a complete protein. So hence why it qualifies as a protein and not a carb. So was anybody surprised by those? For me, the shocker was yogurt and milk. I always thought that they were proteins, and to realize they weren't, and the amount I consumed on a daily basis prior to learning that answered a lot of questions. So that is your first science lesson today, loves. So now let's venture in to understand this a little bit more. So with the whole foods, such as, again, your fruits and vegetables, when you're using these as carbohydrates, your body is able to break them down easier. We have the enzymes and so forth to be able to do that. Okay, they're simple carbohydrates, get you that energy that you need. Okay, so if we are having carbohydrates, like I mentioned yesterday, when your body doesn't have carbs, That is your primary source of energy. Your body uses carbohydrates first and foremost. It does not use fat. Fat does not break down, as in fat if you are eating something that's your macronutrient is a fat. I'm not talking about your body fat. I'm talking about eating a fat. That is not used as energy. It's carbohydrates first, and then if there's not carbohydrates available or stored, then your body's going to use protein, and it will break protein down and turn it into glucose. Okay, so with that said, if you are not eating carbohydrates, your body is going to start dipping into your protein, okay, that's stored in your muscles. So if you need protein to build muscle, but you don't have enough protein because you're not either having it in your diet or your body's using it to break down into energy to keep you going, the gains that you're trying to make and to lose that body fat is going to be more challenging because it's not sustainable to be able to continue having no carbs or very low carbs for long term. So I know there's a lot of information out there where they're saying, oh, low carb, lose a lot of weight. That's true. You're going to lose some weight for sure. With all these different diets out there or fads, there is going to be weight loss. The question is it sustainable? How many times are you going up and down and up and down? That is, your body is not meant to do that. It's meant to try to find balance or homeostasis, and it's going to fight for that. Okay, so body needs those carbohydrates. We want to make sure that you're taking them in order to be able to run optimally, because your body again is going to take the carbohydrates. Whatever you don't use, it gets stored as glycogen in the muscle and in your tissue. And then when your body is needing that energy to move, then it's going to take that glycogen, break it down into glucose, and then you got your energy. So what happens if you are feeling tired or sluggish? Having low carbs, you're going to have that happen. You're not going to have as much energy because your body needs that. You only can go so long before you burn out, right? Can anybody relate to that? So if you're feeling tired or sluggish, look at what you're taking in, the type of carbohydrates you're taking in. Your sleep can be affected, So do you have more cravings? Do you have more sugar cravings by any chance? Because typically if you were having those types of cravings, you may be not having the right type of carbohydrates, not enough, and your body's lacking that nutrient and it's trying to tell you something. Okay, our bodies are extremely smart. We just need to listen. So does any of this make sense? Are you following along with me? Let me know in the comments if you are following along. Does this make sense? Is this something that you have learned before, or is this new to you? Okay, so with all that being said, do you think the type of carbs you eat play a role in weight loss? And again, if you have other girlfriends, moms that that are on a weight loss journey and are wanting some help, tag them in the videos. They are more than welcome to join in as well. And if you are not over in our Fit Single Mama group, then please let me know, drop group in the comments. We'll get you added and you can have some additional resources and support to be with you as you rock this health and wellness journey.